Okay, so this is a video directed at certain elements of the gun lobby. I'll just say the gun lobby in general, because I'd like to make my position clear. If you're an American gun owner, you're a responsible gun owner, I've no problem with you whatsoever. I've no desire to take away your gun. I don't want to see your gun taken away. I've no problem with you. So this video is not directed at responsible gun owners. I recognise guns are a part of American culture, and not everyone who owns a gun is a lunatic. Of course not. There's many responsible gun owners out there, decent people, normal people, who don't threaten anyone. I've no problem with them. This video rather is about gun fanatics, those who worship the gun cult. China has the cult of Mao. The United States of America has the cult of the gun. And let me explain what I'm talking about. Now the title of this video is probably provocative, and it's meant to be, because I really believe that there needs to be a balancing of the situation here. The gun thugs have a very loud voice. They use the bully pulpit to shout down anyone who disagrees with them, who tries to challenge them. I have a lot of respect for my fellow Briton, Piers Morgan. He may be the only former tabloid editor I've respect for, because he has been very active in this gun issue, in terms of debating the issue, in terms of highlighting the problems, in terms of taking on gun thugs like Ted Nugent. But I'd like to just read something here, which is a recent altercation Nugent had. Okay, this is a blog called Media Matters for America. NRA's Ted Nugent compares Harvey Weinstein to Nazi propagandist Goebbels. NRA board member and conservative columnist Ted Nugent compared film executive Harvey Weinstein, who is Jewish, to Nazi propagandist Joseph Goebbels over Weinstein's plan to make an anti-NRA film. Weinstein recently appeared on Howard Stern's radio show and announced he was planning to take the NRA head-on with a new film project involving Meryl Streep. Appearing on the NRA news show Cam and Company on January 16th, Nugent said viewers of Weinstein's film will see that Joseph Goebbels and Saul Alinsky is alive in the form of a fat punk named Harvey Weinstein, and as he tries to destroy the NRA, it will backfire on him. Nugent also called Weinstein a subhuman punk, a brain-dead idiot, a descendant of the ultimate putz, and added, "I don't know if Harvey Weinstein has had a lifetime of drug and substance abuse, but he certainly sounds like it." You have to be brain-dead to believe that the gun-free zones of Chicago and Nuremberg in 1938 are desirable condition. He concluded Harvey Weinstein is on the side of criminals. The NRA is on the side of innocent victims protecting themselves from criminals. And it goes on to say that Nazi comparisons are nothing new for Nugent or the NRA. They frequently compare President Obama to a German in 1938 pretending to respect the Jews and then going home and putting on his brown shirt and forcing his neighbours onto a train to be burned to death. So comparing the democratically elected President of the United States to Adolf Hitler, they've compared him to Mao as well, for good measure. This is the logic of gun fanatics. And Nugent, I think, is great for the NRA. In fact, I think it was the Brady campaign called on the NRA to drop him from the board. I disagree. I think they should keep him on their board. I think he's a wonderful ambassador. I think every time Nugent opens his mouth, he only goes to strengthen the anti-gun lobby movement, i.e. the pro-gun control movement. And it's wonderful. I think that Ted Nugent, in fact, I want to thank him. I want to thank him for exposing just how thuggish, how stupid, how moronic, and how totally ignorant these people are. In that piece it says that Nugent claims that the NRA is on the side of innocent victims. Well, if that's the case, I don't see the NRA doing anything whatsoever for the scores of victims of mass shootings in America. On the contrary, they often insult them as being attention seekers. They call them agents. They even go to the extent of saying that these people are actors. NRA activists have called the Sandy Hook victims actors. This is just how perverse these people are. And I thoroughly believe the NRA is a dangerous, violent organisation that is literally costing America thousands of lives. And I just think it's a tragic situation that it continues to have such strong influence. But it isn't just Nugent. He happens to be the famous face of this violent organisation, but there's a lot of low-level members who are just as psychotic and just as demented. I'm going to read out a quote from someone called Johnny Bowens. This is in relation to Wendy Davies, who is running as governor of Texas. I don't know much about her, but she's pro-gun control. This is from Johnny Bowens. You libtards are wasting your time. You should pack it in and save your cash for a bus back to San Fran. Davies will never win in this state. The numbers simply do not exist. And even if they did, some folks have a 50 cal head ache waiting for her, bitch. Now pay attention to this. Zero chance. So go your collective asses back to Cali. This is what gun thugs do online, these gutless cards. They make threats. Whether or not they carry them through, I don't know. I do believe there's people out there demented enough to do it. And we've seen examples of this. Curtis, I forget the guy's name, Curtis, let me just quote this exactly. Florida Theatre, recently, Curtis Reeves, shot a man in a Florida theatre because the man was making noise with popcorn. So he deserved to be shot. Curtis Reeves had obviously brought the gun in to the cinema, and in a very perverse way, the gun lobby was defending him. So a young father has his life taken away from him, and the gun lobby blames him, blames the victim. This just shows the sort of perverse thinking these people come out with. But you know, that threat from Johnny Bowens, unfortunately, is not isolated. There is a lot of freaks who go onto pro-gun control websites and threaten activists, violently threaten activists, including women, with guns. And these little people, these gutless cards, think they're big men hiding behind their computer screen or hiding behind their gun. And I just think they're nothing but absolute cards. You know, anyone can be powerful when you have a trigger. And it just shows how pathetically weak they are. It shows how perverse their mind is. And you know, the NRA is an extreme organisation because they are not willing to have any compromise on this issue. The NRA literally propose that every American, regardless of mental health, regardless of criminal background, should have guns. They say they're standing up for victims of crime. On the contrary, they're supporting the criminals because they're refusing to allow any action to be taken to prevent those criminals from getting guns in the first place. Now, the thing that's always thrown back is, oh, well, criminals will get their hands on guns anyway. Well, my question is, does that mean you stop the fight against crime? You just let them have the guns? You don't try to stop it? Now, no one is proposing that gun control will ever stop gun crime completely. And another point, they always throw out things like, oh, look how violent Chicago is, look how violent America's big cities are, which have tough gun controls. What they fail to recognise is where those guns come from in the first place. The gangs in those cities often get their guns from gun show loopholes in states whereby there are very lax gun controls. So it's not the fault of the legislation in those cities, it's the fault of criminal gangs being able to bring guns into the cities in the first place. But I think it is profoundly perverse that you have a situation where thousands of Americans are killed every year in gun homicides, in suicides, in accidents, And the National Rifle Association and their kind cannot bring themselves to see that there's anything wrong with this. And they always make comparisons to totalitarian regimes, whilst ignoring the fact many democratic countries have tough gun laws. Yes, my own country, but not just Britain. I can quote many other countries, Japan, Australia. They are democratic countries, they have tough gun laws, and the vast majority of citizens support those gun laws. Now, we don't silence gun nuts, we let them have their view, as perverse as that view is. Unlike in America, where gun thugs try to shout down and threaten anyone who disagrees with them. And they have the audacity to say their opponents are behaving dictatorially in a totalitarian manner. These are people who see guns as more important than human life. And they come out with all sorts of propaganda about how guns are used to protect people. And yet, look at the facts. How many people are killed by guns every year in America? Clearly, if more guns created a safer society, America would be one of the safest places in the world. It's not. That is a fact. And you simply cannot get through to these people. It's very difficult to have a rational debate with someone as absolutely insane as Ted Nugent. And you know, like I say, he's just the face of this. There are probably thousands of people in American society, any one of them, as I'm making this video right now, who are capable of committing a spree shooting. And the Auroras, the Sandy Hooks, the Fort Hoods, those situations are not the first, and they won't be the last. Long after this video, there will be more gun massacres in America. And I think that's tragic. I think it's tragic that there is such a powerful body of propagandists out there who spread lies about the facts concerning gun control, who exaggerate. And by that I mean, you know, they said that Obama was going to take away their guns when he got elected. 2009 passed, they kept their guns. 2010 passed, they kept their guns. 2011 passed. 2012, 2013. Obama has never taken guns away, and nor has any of the gun lobby groups. But we have seen the same level of propaganda every year. We have seen gun nuts comparing gun control groups to communists, to a cult, which is ironic for them to call gun lobbyists cult-like. But these people really, you know, you think they can't get much lower. But when they get to the point of actually claiming that the parents of dead children are actors, that just shows a very sick mentality among these people. And I call on moderate gun owners to stand up to these people, even if you don't 100% agree with gun control. You know, America's a democracy, you have a right to that opinion. But if you don't share the view of fanatics like Ted Nugent, at least stand up to them. Because there is a situation right now in American society which is potentially very dangerous, whereby anyone who does stand up to the gun lobby finds their lives being threatened. Any politician, any citizen, any person brave enough to stand up to the gun lobby will find themselves threatened. And most of these threats are probably from cowards who wouldn't go through with it, but there will be a few unhinged, deranged fanatics who will try. And I think statements like that one made to Wendy Davies should be taken seriously. I hope the individual was arrested, because it is a violent threat. It's not just an opinion about gun control, that is a specific threat. And free speech does not extend to the right to make violent threats against people. But I'm so sick of these gun fanatics who brand gun control people as cowards when they are the ones hiding behind guns. If they were real men, they would be able to prove their argument right. But no, because they're cowards, they go to the extent of threatening people online, including women. And I just think they're absolutely pathetic. And I have nothing but the utmost respect for any American who stands up to these people. And another point, they always say it's a liberal thing. There's plenty of conservatives who recognise the gun lobby for what it is. Former President George Bush Sr. resigned from the NRA because he saw how nuts they were. There's plenty of conservatives who are also wary of the NRA and who support common sense gun control measures. That's all I have to say.